This is the first of 3 10-minute deep dives on this campsite infographic. And I use this campsite metaphor because it's about the real life phenomena of developmental readiness. When we slow right down to watch kids in activities and actually absorb everything about them in real life situations, we are witnessing their everyday struggles. Of course, observing child and teen development can be done in a classroom if you know what you're looking for. So, for example, teachers look for clues of development in reading by noticing when kids enjoy listening to stories, explore books, read whole words, isolate letters and sounds, and escape into novels, or search through nonfiction to research big questions. Teachers even have checklists or rubrics to help them map progress in basic skills. Plus, they use benchmarks to track mastery of new concepts. But I want all adults to have a lens on developmental readiness. Otherwise, we can easily overlook when kids are ready, or we expect too much too soon. So my goal with this campsite infographic is to explain what to look for to see readiness. I use a campsite because it clearly has 3 virtual spaces which all learning environments need. First, a space of comfort and protection illustrated by the RV for rest and relationship. Second, a space for exploration illustrated by the Waterfront for wonder and wisdom. And third, a communication space illustrated by the campfire for compassion and change. All 3 are virtual places and emotional spaces for development. The campsite does not hold the magic. It's the emotional activities which hold the magic. So imagine just for a moment that your classroom is a campsite. The walls of the room disappear, so you're teaching in nature, and you can see immediately that some kids have practical knowledge about setting up camp, while others are overwhelmed and stay close to the adults to feel safe. Some kids have a depth of knowledge and can rattle off details about wildflowers, bird, fish, and insect species as they run off to explore. And some kids have cognitive tools to ask bigger questions. They use their knowledge of seasons to wonder if birds are nesting right now or not. They use a map of the area to ask how big and how deep is this lake? And they use triangles and ratios to calculate the height of the tallest tree. And they might use a stopwatch to time the fastest kayak duo racing across the river and back. You see, developmental readiness is not just about the age of a child or teen. Developmental readiness thrives in 3 capacities. First is the capacity to attach in good relationships with adults and friends, so emotional comfort and safety and protection give feelings of confidence and belonging. Kids with underdeveloped capacity for relationships will either not feel safe to leave the adult or will wander off not expecting to feel connected at all. So poor relationships call for more generous time at the RV space, where kids feel the comfort and protection of the adults and their classmates that they share the school year with. The RV space is for rest and relationship, to feel the belonging a group can create. And second, developmental readiness thrives on the capacity to explore whatever catches the attention. So new learning and new skills give feelings of being authentically yourself, individual and unique. Kids with underdeveloped capacity to follow their own interests will either do whatever their buddy does or do only what they're told to do. So reluctance for exploring calls for more generous time at the waterfront, so each child or teen can feel what is personally most interesting to them. The waterfront is space for wonder and wisdom to be yourself. When schools and classrooms don't have enough time and space for the waterfront, kids don't show their full learning potential. And third, communication is that third capacity. Developmental readiness thrives in capacities to communicate. And words are not absolutely necessary for communication. You've probably heard more than once that action speaks louder than words. And 90% of communication is nonverbal. Also, the clothing we wear and the adornments we choose to wear communicates clues about our culture and our self-identity. So we engage in communication with ourselves, that's our monologue, and we engage in communication with someone else, that's the dialogue, and also with many other people at once, that's the dialectic. Listening to my own inner voice and talking with others creates compassion. Compassion changes me, giving me feelings of becoming more than I was before, understanding more about myself or someone else, and knowing more about the world and my place in it. The campfire space is for compassion and change to become more. So just to summarize, the 3 readiness capacities to look for in kids are attaching, exploring, and communicating. These capacities need each other. Attachment is the foundation for kids to feel safe and feel free to explore and communicate. Exploring is the foundation for kids to create their unique self, learn more, and ask big questions. And communication is the foundation for kids to understand themselves, to understand others, and to know more about their world. If you cannot see a unique person emerging, no matter what age, then I want you to think out loud, there's something missing from this child or teen's campsite. When attachment is missing, adults must generously invite kids to rest and feel protected in the safe and comforting relationships adults can provide, but also intentionally build supportive connections among peers in a classroom group. So kids feel their belonging many times every day at school and know they have a responsibility to support each other to meet the challenges of growing up. When exploration is missing, adults must generously invite kids to the waterfront by giving time and making space in the daily schedule for deep learning and personal projects of strong interest to individual students. Experiencing new learning and mastering new skills builds confidence. Plus, this also earns respect from other kids in the group. And when communication is missing, adults can add in more attachment and more exploration at the campsite. However, when communication is missing in a school setting, kids really need 2 other kinds of specialized help. First, adults can quickly improve capacities to communicate by introducing accommodations to help kids bridge gaps in their basic academic skills. Second, adults can team up to brainstorm adaptations, and these are personalized ways for kids to cope better with life in general. So first, accommodations are supportive while basic skills continue improving. Common accommodations are like computer applications, interfacing text and speech in any language you might need. Also, amazing visual 3D computer models to understand math and science concepts, plus great computer programs for kids to build research presentations highlighting their learning. Alternative ways to assess learning manages student processing speed and test anxiety. So great testing accommodations could be portfolio assessment, dynamic assessment, or functional outcome assessments within a learning project, like used in storyline methods. Learning in depth and workplace mentorships. When we miss the mark with accommodations, kids will miss opportunities to be a learner, feel like a learner, and prove they are learning. But the second group of ideas is adaptations. And adaptations attempt to address sensory sensitivities, health issues, daily social frustrations, stress, trauma, and respect for cultural preferences. So there are easy adaptations for kids who are overly sensitive to lighting, noise, crowding, chatter, and confusion in class. We can use a soft entry, early entry, or late entry to avoid chaos. A teacher I spoke to recently mentioned the record number of kids wearing noise-canceling headphones in school now. Also, there are many ways to respect the needs of high energy as well as low energy kids, aggressive kids, timid kids, and everybody in between. Which kids should be on the periphery of the class so they can move and talk? To avoid disturbing quieter peers who prefer to group together. Some kids need to stand or work on the floor instead of being at a desk. And one student I remember could read for long stretches of time arched backwards over her chair. Physically skilled kids might appreciate a sports training camp idea with older kids closer to their skill level to sometimes replace gym class with age peers. And let's not overlook health basics, because low energy kids or emotionally reactive kids might be undernourished or need an appointment with their doctor or dentist and need updated vision and hearing testing to uncover problems. And what about daily frustrations like missing breakfast, stress in impatient adults in the morning? Or is the bus ride to school too long? Do kids feel bullied? Do they have friends or not? Maybe attachment stress or trauma experiences have created emotional instability. So we need safeguards, and they can be put into place for kids who live with too much stress and might have a history of adverse childhood experiences. Ethnic and gender peer alliance is just one adaptation to make sure kids have clear pathways to seeking help, because help seeking is a basic ingredient of resilience. When we miss the mark on adaptations, we get unpredictable emotionality from kids. So if you want to hear more about accommodations and adaptations, check out the February infographic on WolfeWisdom.ca called Big Waves of Sensory Perception. You can find all of my infographics on my website. It's a monthly series of visuals mapping the most relevant processes of emotional development. Wolfe Wisdom teaches an emotion-focused approach for promoting emotional development, and that's my favorite topic.